Does your character know what to expect with a natural death? Is it painful? How long does it last? What are the signs that death is getting close? Did you know that the death rattle is not the last breath a person takes? Do you need a timeline for your character? With some real-life examples, I've got you covered. Learn about all this and more on today's episode. Welcome to Writing Rule with Allie, the Fiction Writer's weekly inspiration station for rural life and lifestyles, from historical to post-apocalyptic, helping you bring your rural stories to life. I'm Allie, and this is episode number 89, Writing a Natural Death, Part 2. Stick around to the end to find out all the ways things could possibly go wrong. For my weekly viewers, I'm sorry to have missed a couple of weeks. I was sick and didn't have a voice. My voice is still a little rough, but we're going to make the best of this. A quick disclaimer, I am in no way, shape, form, or fashion a medical anything. This is not medical advice, death advice, or any other kind of advice. This is solely for the purposes of fiction writing and nothing else. I have some experience with this topic and will be passing it along while it's still fresh in my memory. For any family and friends that are watching or listening, this is your cue that I might talk about family. If that bothers you, you might want to skip this one. For everyone else, I will do the best not to cry, but no promises. With that said, let's pick up where we left off. Hallucinations. They are also common, but fall under the title of delirium. Delirium is a bit of a broad range of things. This can include hallucinations, yes. The most common one that I know of is asking someone in the ceiling, usually someone they know, dead or alive, to help them up. They want to walk around or leave. This can be referred to as the death reach. People do not always say anything, but they can hold their hands out like they're reaching for something. Another one is restlessness. This also falls under the category of delirium. They might pick at their bed sheets or clothing. My first experience and favorite one is with my in-law. She was holding the IV line that she had and was sewing with it. Okay, not literally sewing, but you could see that she was making all the movements like she was sewing. It was something that she had loved to do. It's not distressing to her, and she seemed quite happy to do it. My other in-law, I'm not really sure what he was doing, but he was definitely turning a screwdriver. I've also seen people making motions like they're eating, even though nothing is there. The last is called the surge. This is a burst of energy that they get and will want to do something. My grandmother wanted to have tea. If you go on YouTube, hospice nurse Hallie tells a story of a man who cut down a tree with a chainsaw. Pretty impressive for someone about to die. Many times when this happens, the family might think that they are getting better because they look better. However, this is not the case. This is a short-term burst of energy that usually only lasts a few hours, and this is often the last physical thing they do before they fall into unconsciousness. And that is the next thing that happens. At some point in the day, or even in the hours before death, the person will become unconscious. They will not wake up again. Most of the time, it just looks like they fell asleep. Now, there are usually a few hours to a few days between the time that they fall into unconsciousness until the time that they die. During this time, a few things will happen, and your character will be the one needing to care for them, or if they're in a hospital or nursing home, the people there can do it. First is to take care of any bodily functions that happen. Some people think they stop having body waste expelled from the body, but this is not true. They can, and do. When this happens, they will need to be cleaned up. Keeping them clean and dry will help keep them comfortable and make their death more peaceful. Since they are unconscious, they will need to be turned, sometimes called rolling, every few hours to prevent bed sores. While they are unconscious, this does not mean that they can't feel pain, and open wounds on the body will be painful. One thing I was surprised about is how much they sweat. Wiping the sweat away can help them to be comfortable. Something physical that can happen during this time is that they relax their jaw, and their mouth will be open. It takes a lot of muscles to keep the jaw closed, and these muscles relax at the end of life. This leaves them breathing through their mouths. Since they're mouth breathing, their mouths can become dry and chapped. Something that is often done is to use a sponge on a stick, or in a historical setting, perhaps a damp cloth, to wet the insides of their mouth. Lip moisturizers can be used to keep the lips from becoming chapped. Many times their eyes will be somewhere between open and closed, not fully either. They will not be looking at anything as they are unconscious. This is the death stare. Their breath will become irregular. It can be fast and then slow. There can be long pauses between them, and they can look like they're gasping. I've had several cases where they take half breaths very quickly for a time. My mother, as she was passing, would take several quick half breaths, and then a huge pause, and then gasp, going back to several half breaths. Yes, this is part of the death, and once you have seen it, you will not forget it. A weird side note, I have personally found their breath smells a bit different, but it isn't anything that I can point my finger to help explain the smell. I was told it's because their blood oxygen can change in the last few hours. While these sound scary and can feel scary to the loved ones, remember it's not painful to the person that's dying and is a natural and normal part of dying. Around this time, there can be blotchy looking areas of skin around their feet and hands. This will slowly start to work its way up their arms and legs. It's normal and is not painful. Finally, they will stop breathing and their heart will stop. If you're writing a modern story, if it is a hospice worker at home, at least here in Tornado Alley, they will listen for 2 minutes to make sure that there is no heartbeat before pronouncing them dead. If they're at a hospital, 2 doctors will listen to the heart for 1 minute each and then pronounce them dead. I learned the hard way that if a person is in hospital and hooked up to the machines, there will look to still be a heartbeat on the monitor, but that this is the residual electric activity of the heart and it's not really pumping. It was a bit hard the first time since I didn't know what to expect. After that, it made the next few a bit less hard. There are a few things that can happen with the body. They can have a last bowel movement or even urinate. This is normal. There can be grunts and groans and farts and other noises that the body can make. And let me tell you, when they groan after they've been pronounced dead, it is hard on the family. At least it sure as heck was on me. All of their muscles will relax. They don't become instantly stiff like you see in the movies. I've seen a few times where the body makes extra lubrication for the eyes as the person is passing. This sometimes is expelled at death in the same way that other bodily fluids are and can be mistaken as the person crying as they pass. It's sad and heartbreaking thing if your character doesn't know that it's common. After the heart stops moving blood through the body, the blood will settle at the bottom of the body in whatever position they're in. This will leave the body looking pale and waxy as blood starts to settle. In modern times, many times hospice or the hospital will clean the body before sending it to the funeral home. In history, or even some cultures today, the families will wash the body. There are a few more overall things to talk about. Deathbed confessions are a real thing, but not as common as the TV makes them out to be. Last words can be and very important to some people. It was important to me that my last words to my parents were, "I love you," and that was their last words to me. However, I've been with others where their last words were, "That feels wonderful." And another one who was, mashed potatoes. Historically, families took care of them. At least here in the U.S., we have hospice. Here in the U.S., Medicare, which is the medical insurance of the elderly people, pays for hospice, but it does not pay for room and board when on hospice. This means that any person who stays at the hospital or nursing home will have to pay out of pocket or go home. At least that's the way that things were as of the time that I am writing this in 2024 in my state, unless something happened and nobody told me. Some of the services hospice includes are doctors, nurses, medications, any equipment that they need, chaplain services, respite care, and comfort care. Basically, comfort care is a broad term for everything I listed. Respite care is a short-term relief program to help the caregiver of a dying loved one. This is usually an hour or two of someone caring for the character's loved one for 1 hour once, maybe twice a week. And yes, that is an insanely small window of time, and as someone who has been a caregiver repeatedly, it was not worth it in my situations, and frankly, it was very depressing and disheartening for me. Keep in mind that religious and cultural beliefs can affect the way that people look at death. As a Christian, I'm not scared to die. I have met people who believed that they would come back as an animal and were terrified of dying because they were terrified of spiders and didn't want to come back as one. Mortician Caitlin Doughty, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, says that she was in South America where people that she stayed with kept the mummified loved ones in their homes until they were ready to part with them. There are many cultures who saw death through battle or giving birth as the only honorable types of deaths. Another thing is that some people will not die until a certain thing happens. Some examples of this is waiting for a person's graduation, the birth of a grandchild, a special holiday, so that they have one more. My in-law held out until her husband came one last time, and then she passed away within the hour. They had been married for over 60 years. My father fought and held out until I literally gave him permission, so to speak, and told him it was okay, I would be fine, and I'd see him up there when I got there. And living people can act oddly as they are grieving, sometimes before the person even passes. Some people refuse to see their dying loved one, wanting to remember them the way they were. Others will stay by their side every second. Some people stay until right as they are dying. All of this is normal. That said, it can lead to hurt feelings or feelings of guilt, especially for people who are overthinkers. Remember, dying people are still people deserving of dignity and respect. Will your dying character get that? I don't know. Now, some of the best resources that I found in my many years of going through this have been on YouTube. First is hospice nurse Hadley. She is sweet and covers more of the emotional side of things. Next is hospice nurse Julie. She does a great job of covering more of the physical side of things. And last is what to expect right after with mortician Caitlin Doughty. Still sorry if I mispronounced the last name. She does a great job of explaining what happens to the body and how they are cared for in many eras. Quick warning, these are not kid-friendly channels. Some might find their content disturbing, and in the last case, it might be something that they don't want to hear because of religious reasons. Before we get to the best part, if you enjoy this podcast and are listening on YouTube, subscribe and hit that like button. Drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you and answer questions. Don't forget to share with a friend. Now it's time for everyone's favorite part. What could possibly go wrong? And since this is about death, buckle up. This might get dark. Just a fair warning. Likely to go wrong. Your dying character could say something inappropriate. This can be because they don't care if the other person is upset, or they don't have the ability to understand if something is appropriate anymore. Possible to go wrong. Your dying character's caregiver cleans up their poop, only for them to immediately poop again. Many people no longer have control of their bowel movements. Unlikely to go wrong. Your dying character becomes aggressive. This is not common, but can happen. Improbable, but still technically in the realm of possibilities. Your dying character screams and dies, looking like they are in horrible pain. This is a very rare thing, but is something I have heard about from people who work at nursing homes. Now, I promised a Black Friday deal for all month, and I might be extending this to make it for the time that I have been sick. Anyone interested in a special one-year membership to my Buy Me a Coffee page can email me at Allie@alleyhart.com. That's ALLEY at ALLEYHART.com. Yes, I left out the E in heart on purpose. Email me the phrase free one-year membership, and I will send you a link to a free one-year membership. My membership includes a behind-the-scenes access to my projects, opportunities to influence the content that you want to see, bite-sized pieces of rural wisdom, and unique and entertaining personal stories that you won't find anywhere else. This is only for the month of November, and potentially a week or two I might add on to December. I will let you know for the year of 2024. I hope to see you all there. Thanks for listening. Until next time, happy wordsmithing.